Hi guys, how's it going? So I made a video recently giving you my top 10 survival items for a hostel, and while I was making that video I was just flooded with memories from the time I was staying in hostels by myself and the times I was staying in hostels with Ali. And I just thought I'd do a video where we talk about our experiences in hostels. I've got some funny stories about living in hostels, and I'm sure you do too, so we're just gonna like crack straight into this. When you're staying in a hostel, there's a big part where it's like, there's a big divide, isn't there, between like long term and short term. Like long term in a hostel, people are getting up and going to work, they're coming back having a few drinks, they've got like a routine. And then you have the short term side where everyone just wants to get drunk and have a party, go out sightseeing.
It's very cliquey. It's something people won't tell you, but it's bitchy, it's cliquey. Long term is on that side of the rooftop, short term is on the other. That is how it is, like high school. It's not intentional, and they do mix, but long-termers stick with the long-termers. Yeah. You might get a few short-termers come over for a bit of a party night, but the other time's like, nah mate, I'm with my family here.
Yeah, that is really true. Another thing in the hostels are the beds, and obviously you're going to be sleeping on bunk beds, and I find a big difference between like metal frame bunk beds and wooden frame bunk beds.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Biggest thing metal frame bunk beds do?
Squeak. We should know.
Yeah. And when you get a couple of people humping, they squeak a lot.
Yeah.
But we'll come on to that later.
That's the thing. I am really good at picking good hostels.
Yeah.
I pick really good places to stay accommodation-wise, so no, I can't think of anything that's been horrific.
No? Nope.
I make sure I read all the reviews and make sure that shit is clean. Yeah. Except for Sydney, because I couldn't afford anywhere clean in Sydney. That's the only place.
When I was in Australia, the one thing I looked at in a hostel was just the price. I literally was just price orientated, and I was like, cheapest. You have
to, when it's like $25-30 a night.
Yeah. And the Elephant Backpackers for me was the cheapest. Actually, funny, the Elephant Backpackers is, it was so disorganized, this hostel, right? I was a little bit cheeky, and I was a bit naughty here, so it was so disorganized. So normally when you go and, you're staying in a hostel already and you want to extend, you normally go down to the reception, you go, right, can I extend another week? And then you pay for it at the desk. Now this hostel was a little bit different because you could extend, but you didn't have to pay. They just wanted you to book in the sheet, and then basically you pay like later.
Right.
So
that sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, well, I sort of clicked onto this. So, and there was obviously a few different people working in reception. So I was like, So I tried it, and I went down, I paid for a week, I went down, and I was like, can I extend for another week? And then the next week came round, and I went down, and I was like, can I extend for another week? But can I pay now? And they were like, yeah, of course, you can pay now. So I paid then. So then in the thing, it obviously shows that I've paid. So then the next couple of days go by, I go down again and go, can I extend for another week? But then I don't pay. And then I go down again and go, can I extend?
So you paid every other time?
Yeah, so I was paying for a week, but I was getting 2 weeks out of it. I did that for 3 months. I was like, oh my God, this place is so disorganized. I even told like 4 of my mates, and they were all doing it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I think another big thing when you're living in a hostel is the fight in the kitchen. Like you're fighting for, not fighting like literally, but there's only a certain amount of plates, there's only a certain amount of pots and pans, there's only a certain amount of gas rings or electric rings.
The gas rings.
Yeah. There's only a certain amount of microwaves. So, in my hostel in Sydney, it was probably the biggest one I ever stayed at. There's probably like 400 people.
That's just, that sounds like my nightmare of a hostel. Oh, that's ridiculous. One kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh God, how big was the kitchen?
How big? It was only had like three
hobs.
3 hobs. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So 12 rings. That's it.
Yeah.
For 400 people.
I don't know. Was there 400 people? That sounds quite a lot.
That's a lot of people.
There was a lot of people. This hostel was 4 floors, and it probably had about, I'd say about 15 to 20 rooms on each floor. So it was a big hostel. It was like a big old hotel.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Chill. We stayed at Chill together for how long? 6 months?
No,
4 months in Chill.
Yeah.
That was in Brisbane. And the kitchen there was tiny, wasn't it?
Really tiny.
Well, how many rings did that have? It only had like 2 hobs, didn't it?
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All in one square, in the middle of the silver bench. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, did it? 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 on each, but 4.
So 4, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 16 all up.
Yeah.
Pretty
That
sure it was
kitchen
16.
was pretty small, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was ridiculous at rush hour. You'd have to get in before rush hour.
Yeah.
Everyone used to go in at a certain time, so you just had to kind of like go in before. Because if you didn't, you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
You'd be in there for an hour trying to get anything done.
Did you ever have anyone steal your food?
Nope.
So normally in a hostel as well, if you don't know, there's obviously communal fridges. So what that means is you have to stick all your food into like sort of refrigerator bags, or you can just use plastic bags, but you normally have to like name it and date it and put your room number on stuff.
Good times.
And basically you keep all your stuff in a communal fridge, but sometimes people are a little bit naughty and they'll rummage through your bag and take your food out that you've just purchased from the supermarket. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit of a nightmare.
It is not popular amongst good travellers. If you find out someone's done that, everyone's like on the hunt to find out who did it because it's such a shady thing to do, but it happens.
But I mean, Chill was an amazing backpackers. I'd recommend Chill to anyone. In Brisbane, it was an awesome, and I'd recommend Elephant Backpackers as well. I mean, it was a dive.
Of all the stories you've told me,
but it was a dive. But I had a great time there. Like
because it's about the community, and you became a long-termer and made friends.
The people, the location was good. It had a really good little bar. It had some good food in the little bar restaurant. You know, it wasn't super clean, but no hostel really is, like to an extent. But it had a good vibe, you know, it had a lot of space. The rooms were like sort of this room, like really high ceilings, you know, big old rooms. So there was a lot of space in the rooms. But yeah, I mean, it was dirty, and you had the odd cockroach climb up the side of the wall when you're in the bunk bed and stuff like that. But yeah, the ceiling fell through in the bathroom. It was
You're selling it.
The fire alarm. The worst thing was the fire alarm. So I became a long-termer and I found a job, and I was actually installing like TV antennas. And so I was getting up really early every morning to get on the train to go to work, and people kept setting the goon boxes, the boxes of wine. They finished the box of wine, set the box on fire in the lounge area, and the fire department came out about 15 times in, I think, 4 months that I was there. And I think a few times I was so tired, I was just like, I know it's not a real fire, I'm just gonna stay in bed. And the fire department came round and checked every room, and they turned the fire alarm off eventually, and a fireman walked into my room, and I just went like that and looked under the sheets, and he was like, you do know there was a fire alarm going off, don't you? And I was like, yeah, but it has gone off like 10 times in the last 3 weeks. And he was like, yeah, good point. He was like, you should really get out of bed though and come downstairs, just in case. But he was just laughing, like he'd been there so many times. And it was like, I think it was a $1,500 fine every time. Ouch. It was a sort of a false alarm.
Did they have CCTV? Did they actually?
They had one camera in like the whole hostel.
God, Jesus.
So yeah.
Don't stay there. I've heard the real stories of Elephant Backpackers. He's bullshitting. It sounds awful.
It was pretty bad.
You told me so many stories.
It was pretty bad.
Can you imagine putting a first-time traveller there? This is your first destination. Go stay there. This is what a hostel's like.
Yeah. It's funny. Another story from there is basically it's in a place called Woolloomooloo, and Woolloomooloo is pretty dodgy. Like there's a lot of homeless people there because it's a police station and they all sleep around the police station. And you know, it's just like sort of down from King's Cross as well, so there's a lot of drugs going on and stuff like that. And this guy, when I was there, he walked out of the hostel and walked around the corner, and a guy came up to him with a gun, a handgun. Oh, maybe it was fake, I don't know. And basically went, fucking give me your wallet and your phone. And he was like, I don't have my wallet on me, but you can have my phone. And went to give him his phone like that. And the guy apparently looked at it and went, that's a really shit phone, you can keep it, and just like ran away.
Yeah.
And this kid was like, comes back into the hostel, he's like, some guy just pointed a gun at me. It was big news in the hostel.
I think we put everyone off visiting Sydney now. Definitely.
Another thing in the hostels that you've got to contend with is the sex.
Oh, there's a lot of sex in hostels.
There's a lot of sex in hostels. And there's a lot of creaky beds.
Yeah. When you go into a shower cubicle, understand that there's been a lot of sex in there. Just accept that.
Yeah. One of my tips in my survival items was flip-flops. I really recommend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and all the bacteria and funguses on the... Oh, yeah.
Don't go into the showers or the toilets without flip-flops on your feet.
No, never. Never. That's gross. Even clean hostels, I wouldn't.
Yeah. It's the bathroom is the place where a lot of people have the sexual activity, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because you can turn the shower on and get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of having it in a dorm room, which people still do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Right in front, no sheets, like they'll just be right on there.
Have you got any stories of walking in on people or?
Well, no, there was one in Melbourne where I woke up to some very heavy breathing, and I was on the top bunk, and there was 2 top bunks, but they were very close together. And he started just having wild sex on top of the sheets with this girl, and I kind of...
On the bottom or the top?
Top. So it's right in front of me.
Oh,
so I woke up, and I just like opened my eyes, I was like, that better not be what I think it is in front of my face. And they were going hard. He was doggying her, just going for it. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, so I just like kind of crept out, went out into the kitchen, sat with a few people. This is like 1 a.m, but people are always up in a hostel somewhere.
Yeah.
There's always someone. And they were like, are you all right, Ali? I was like, yeah, there's, he's really going for it. And a guy walked in, and he opened the door, and he was just like, and the guy was just like, shut the door, he was like, oh my God, he really is going for it. This didn't stop them at all. They were going for about an hour.
No way.
I was sat in that kitchen till at least 3 a.m. And I was like, should I just go in and tell him to stop?
No way.
Ew.
We had this Dutch guy in our room in Brisbane, and you can't really remember him, can you?
No.
But this Dutch guy was really, really funny, and he was really straight to the point. I don't know if like a few Dutch people I've met are like that, but this guy was just like, if you asked him the time, he'd be like, it's 4:23, and it was like that type of straight to the point. And he was really into like running and stuff and fitness, and he'd met this girl at the hostel who was into fitness as well, so they got along.
Did he have bleach blonde hair?
Yeah.
Like really white, I remember.
Yeah. And basically I got talking to him, we become friends, and he had this whistle, and it was 100 decibel whistle. And I was like, what's the whistle for? And he was like, oh, it's when I stay in noisy hostel rooms, I blow the whistle really loud, and everyone just freaks out and shuts the fuck up for like 10 minutes so I can get to sleep. So I was like, so what do you do? He's like, well, I'm lying asleep, I pretend I'm asleep, and I'll just blow the whistle really loud, and then I'll just like hide it and like keep my eyes closed, and then try and fall asleep. And while the noise has gone off, everyone's just like, did everyone just hear a whistle? Yeah, so that was weird. But on New Year's, we were all having a big party and chill on the top of the roof.
You were?
Oh, I was, yeah, you were at work. But you had a party when you came back. And
that's a different
I had champagne on ice ready for you and everything.
Which was actually turned out to be champagne on water after like 6 hours of it being on ice in Brisbane.
Yeah. Okay,
But anyway.
moving on. Yeah, so I walked in on the Dutch guy and his fitness friend, and basically the door was, the room was a bit of an L shape, so you walk in and you had to walk around a wall, basically to the other bunk beds, but his bunk bed was right in front of the door, and I just opened the door like that, and there he was, doggy styling, and I was just like, fucking hell, like, move around the corner.
Oh, I used someone else's bed.
No, he wasn't even using the bed. They were both like, he was standing and she was like doubled over, and he was just going for it. And like, I opened the door and it literally is just like, okay.
Blush.
I don't think they even stopped.
Probably not.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I think it's worse when they're trying to be quiet so you can hear the sex noises. Like all of the little noises. Ugh. You just know, like an image automatically comes into your head when you hear it, you're like, nope, get out.
Yeah, hostel life is quite funny. Like when you first arrive at a hostel and you're only there for like 3 or 4 days, you kind of like stay there, you meet a few people, but if you ever do a hostel long term, you create such bonds with people, don't you? Yeah. Because especially people in your room, because you're so close with them, like, you know, you share a room with them, and a lot of the time it's 7 other people. Yeah. So it's really like, it's really strange how close you get, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely built families.
Yeah. I mean, we had a proper little family in Brisbane, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh
like
God,
a real family.
We were tight. Tight.
It was funny. We had Tino bringing us food on the roof, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was
loads of brownies and shit, 'cause
yeah.
he was a head chef.
Yeah, he was a head chef at this restaurant, so he used to bring all the leftovers to the hostel afterwards.
It's like scavengers, wasn't it? He'd put the box down and it was like, all these starving, drunk backpackers. I'm hungry, Tino, I love him. He loved that. It's like just big providing hungry backpackers with big piles of cake at 3 a.m.
Another big thing in hostels is obviously drinking. Like there's a big drinking culture, and there's a big cheap drinking culture. So obviously, especially in Australia and New Zealand, Goon is available, and you know, I mean, a pack of beer, 24 cans of beer in Australia is going to cost you around $60. It's expensive, isn't it? So you're going to buy a bag of Goon for about $8. You know, it's 3 litres of wine, so it can last.
Which then creates a really nice, like, hostel hangover family.
Yeah. And another thing that happens in hostels, which involves drinking, is drinking games. Now, we have quite a story about a drinking game.
Oh, God.
Called the Ring of Fire.
That always comes with good stories. Everyone who's ever played that game more than once will have a good story about Ring of Fire.
So if you don't know what Ring of Fire is, it's like a card game. But in the middle of the cards, there's a cup, and basically when you're playing the game, you go around and eventually the cup will fill up with different types of drinks that everyone's drinking who is playing the game. So someone might have beer, someone might have rum, you end up all pouring it in this cup in the middle, and the loser of the game has to down what's ever in the cup.
But the whole game is premised on you have to like pick up a card, and each card means something. And it always involves drinking. Yeah. So you are constantly drinking, then the last person takes that.
Yeah.
There's always one unlucky person. I've been that person a few times. I always pull the ace or something like that. Like, or the last ace, I'm always doing that.
Well, one of the times it was our friend Rory who lost the Ring of Fire game. I think he lost it. Didn't we play twice and he lost twice?
I can't remember.
Anyway, Rory was a really cool Irish guy, and he was in a bad way, really bad way. I mean, it got to the point where he went to bed and he threw up all over himself. And one of the lads in the room noticed that he was being sick, so helped him out, took him to the bathroom. But I think you had to really help him out.
I had to get into the cubicle and undress him, clean him up, and redress him. Yeah. Because he was just covered in puke, and no one else wanted to do it. And he was crying, bless him.
Yeah. He was in a bad way.
He was in a really, really bad way. Yeah. So I was the only one that could really do anything. Yeah. These two, I remember you. Who else?
Victor, maybe.
Was it? Came down. Stefan, I think it was. You came down and just kind of looked at me, and I was sat in the room. I was like, "Oh, is he all right?" You were like, Ali, can you come and help? He needs a lady's touch. We need to get him undressed. I'm like, for God's sake.
Yeah, it was in a bad way, bless him. But yeah, if you are going to hostels and you don't have to drink. Like, there's a lot of people that don't drink. There's a lot of people that do drink, but you can still have a good time if you don't drink. But yeah, just be careful if you are playing drinking games. You might want to cheat a little bit and pretend you're drinking.
I used to all the time.
Yeah, and that you're not drinking. Yeah, especially the Ring of Fire, you have to, because some of them like drink for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And you just end up... So yeah, hostel life is pretty funny, and it's a really good experience. Obviously, when you go traveling, you're more than likely going to be staying in hostels.
We have to give you some crazy stories as well.
Yeah.
It's not like that every single night.
No.
It's like 5 out of 7.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, let me know if you have any hostel stories down below, and we might even do a part 2 to this video and tell you some more crazy stories. So if you do want to see a part 2, let me know down below if you enjoyed this. Give this video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe down below if you want to, and I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Cheers, Ali.